Yes, it was.
Okay. Come here. I can't get. I got no sound.
All right.
It's unlocked.
All right. Hold on. Honey.
Go talk to them.
Dustin Grant, Director of Zoning and Land Conservation.
What did you just touch?
Push to gallery view. Maybe everybody's still muted.
And so we're trying to work on shielding documents in our office, the treasurer's office, and I believe there's many other offices, having that information known out to the public. There's a couple issues with that. And not that I'm not in favor of it, but however, you're shielding public records, so you have to be really cautious about how that gets treated, because you don't want people to not be able to search the public record for, let's say if that judge was going to buy or sell their house, that information would not show up. And whose responsibility is it to shield it? Whose responsibility is to notify? Ohio has a very bad law where the responsibility gets put on the recorder office to do that. They just have to randomly guess what documents are going to be shielded. Where in Michigan, part of the law states that that individual that wants the shielding done provides them with a document number set that we shielding. And it's not removed from the public record, but it's shielded from going out to the public. So there's a few things in Wisconsin, we want to stay on top of things, so we didn't get a law like Ohio, or Ohio did, because it can cost the county a lot of money if the recorder is responsible, and county treasurer, and any other office, planning, zoning, everybody would have to shield everything, and then the people that we sell the documents to as well, or If, you know, if people purchase both data documents, they would have to shield those two. And I think Michigan, it's only a couple classes that are shielded, but in Florida, it's 152 classifications, means EMTs, firefighters, you know, other things too. So I think there's an overreach, I think, so we have to be cautious that that doesn't happen here in Wisconsin. So we're staying on top of that from our association perspective. We also have a change in the marriage certificates starting July 1st. If you want to be married, a resident of Adams County, you need to go to Adams County Clerk's office to apply for a marriage license. That law changes, you can go to any county you want to apply for a marriage certificate or license. And then when the certificate is filed, it doesn't have to be filed here, it's filed anywhere, because it goes into a statewide system. And so we thought that was best for the consumer, waiting on the weekend, especially like the Chula Vista or some other destination waiting in Adams County. There was an Adams County destination wedding and they like to get out of here. And so they're taking their certificate back, or if they have an officiant who is the responsible party to do that, they have to make sure that that is filed, but they can file that anywhere in the state of Wisconsin. So that's pretty much for registered deeds.
Okay, excellent.
Okay, for the land information, we have a meeting set for June 13th. And so that agenda just went out today. And we're looking, and we're going to be talking about the next gen 911 grants. The state is providing some of that. We don't know the details on that yet, but that'll help with the implementation moving up to the next gen 911 for the sheriff's department and that link between GIS and the sheriff's department. So I'm still working on my 2021 grant, which is due at the end of 2022 here, having my older book scanned. That I've done phase 1 with that, and now phase 2 will be starting in August. So we'll have that completed. That puts more documents online and also preserves them too. So, and then we're also, wasn't able to attend the land information officer meeting last week, Thursday at Stevens Point. But I talked to another person who was there, and she said that the state is requesting that we add the links to the statewide parcel maps to our county pages. Clarify what pages they're talking about, or if it's that mainline records page. I think as long as we have it available to the public to go link to that information. But we'll make sure that that happens. And then that's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions? Okay, we'll go on. We'll open up the public hearing portion of the meeting. Trustee number 1.
First application is for Bridget and Bernardino Mancera. This is a reopen table conditional use request under section 405-38C for the Adams County Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance to allow conditional use for a commercial swimming pool on property located in government lot 4, except lot 1 CSM 1012 in section 5, township 14 north, range 6 east, parcel number 8-127, town of Del Prairie on 13th Ave. This application originally came before the committee in April. The town had denied it at that time. The applicants revised their plan and the committee sent it back to the town for reconsideration. They were on the agenda for May 4th. There was a mix-up. They didn't get on the agenda in time with the town. They have now, and I do see the applicant online. There is new correspondence that we did receive. I'll read that quick. Yes. My name is Justin Wall, and I and David Wall, who is in the process of purchasing a lot from me, are writing to oppose the conditional use of a commercial pool on the lot with parcel number 8-127. I am the owner of parcel 8-126-45, which is on the eastern border of the petition property. It is our experience that when a commercial pool is an acceptable usage in residential zoning, that pool serves at a subdivision, and it is used by the owners of properties within that subdivision. In context of a residential usage, though not clearly defined, it is our opinion that conditional use would fit into a usage by the various lot owners in a residential subdivision and not serve as a business attraction for open public use. It would be our desire to see the planning and zoning committee deny the requested conditional use If our understanding of the permitted use is seen differently by the committee and they should choose to allow the requested commercial pool to move forward, we feel that there needs to be conditions put on the usage of that pool for the protection of surrounding property owners. We would ask that the following conditions be placed on the approval. No new bathing or any sort, including topless bathing. A sufficiently high fence, no less than 8 feet to block the view of the pool. Trees to be put around the pool to decrease the noise coming from the pool. Restrictions on the hours of the use of the pool to be no later 10 p.m. No alcohol provided or carried in. A 6-foot fence on the eastern border of the property to prevent the public from trespassing on our land. We would like a site map of the pool, parking facilities and buildings from the petitioners and request that the conditional use approval only cover the site plan and not the entire property. And any future expansion would be required to be submitted to the conditional use process. Additionally, we request that said business would not become a campground or nudist colony. We would request that access to the property be from 13th Ave. I would also like to say that I am involved with helping a small youth group within our church in Madison, which is made up of disadvantaged kids who do not get out into the country. We have seen positive results when inviting these kids out a few times a year to our property. They put their phones away and play soccer and converse with each other while enjoying s'mores around the fire. Needless to say, allowing for a new commercial pool will prevent us from having these kids out to our property. We are reasonable neighbors and have no issue with the winery or the breeding of dogs on a nearby property. We understand that our opinion is not the only one that the committee needs to assess, and we realize that it's not an easy task for the committee to find what is best for the overall good of Adams County. We appreciate your time and effort in considering our concerns. Sincerely, Justin Wall and David Wall. The original request, as I said, in March was denied by the town. The town has not sent in a new town participation form. It is my understanding that it was denied at the most recent town board meeting. I believe the Manceras were there and they can confirm that. That's all I have.
Okay, Sarah, is it online? Do you have any additional comments?
Hi, this is Bridget Mansera. We did attend the meeting last month, the town board meeting. Nobody had objections to the pool or the idea of our pool and the modifications that we made to the plan. Their concern was that they felt that we had to be rezoned to be a commercial property in order to open the pool. And then they said that we would have to discuss it at this meeting to find out exactly what we needed to do in order to get it open.
Okay, I'm under the understanding that this can be a pool in its current form with a conditional use permit only. It does not have to be rezoned.
Correct.
That was our understanding, that we could just do the conditional use permit and not have to be commercial.
Committee members, do you have any questions for the requester?
My understanding is that Dustin had conversations with the town board with Dan down there, and that explained why you would not want to rezone it as a B1 business. And did you get any, I don't know what answer you got from them.
So if anybody didn't hear that, Randy asked about the conversation I had with the town about explaining why conditional use would be the appropriate action. I did not receive any response after that. I know there's a number of newer members on the committee. Basically, the way the zoning ordinance works is each zoning district has certain uses that are permitted. Don't need to go to a meeting, don't need to have any special approval. Might need a permit or whatever. And then there's a list of uses that are allowed under after the conditional use permit is granted. In this case, the property is zoned R1 in the zoning ordinance under, it's not listed as a permitted use, but it is commercial pool. Commercial pools is specifically listed as a conditional use, something that they can apply for a conditional use. If something's not listed as a conditional use, you can't even apply for it. In this case, it is listed, so that's why they're applying in that direction. The other option that has been floated about was to rezone the property to B1. If you rezone or if they were to go through that process and the property rezoned the business, any item that is listed as a permitted use in B1 can happen. No special approvals, no meeting involved, no, nothing. Essentially, if it was rezoned to B1, Walmart could go in there tomorrow. No meeting, no nothing, no limits, no condition. Because one of the permitted uses in B1 zoning is retail store. Under conditional use, the only thing that would be permitted if the committee approved it is exactly what they're applying for. So in that one letter, they were talking about that it only applies to that and not the whole property. The only thing that the committee is approving is exactly what they applied for. So I think it said 7, I don't remember how many parking spots now, but if the committee approves the conditional use as is, they would be limited to exactly that number and only as a commercial pool. Campground is not listed as permitted use, so they would have to come back before the board to do anything different. If they decide to open a bar at some point, I mean, the conditions are a good idea also. If they decide to start serving alcohol, they're coming back before. Well,
Hello.
Julie?
I was gonna ask if you could list the permitted uses, whoops. I was gonna ask if you could list the permitted uses on B1, but I don't think that's a question, so never mind, thank you.
I think that would be very pertinent. Is my screen still shared? So the B1 zoning district, here's the list of permitted uses. Retail establishment, community and customer service establishments, which actually include bowling alleys, theaters, clubs, lodges, other meeting places, professional offices, drive-through establishments, wholesaling warehouses, commercial storage buildings, existing, and some other stuff. So those, anything in 1 through 8 could happen without any input from the town or county. You go to, I guess over here. So this is what they are currently zoned. So under permitted uses, pretty low key or low impact items. And then you get down to conditional uses, private parks, commercial swimming pools. Which is why they have applied going that direction.
Any other questions?
John Wasall. A couple of questions. So Dustin, did the town reject the request or object to the request? I guess is the right phrase.
Town did. The second time, the town thought it should be zoned B instead of conditional use. And we kind of explained why that wouldn't be a good idea.
Right. They though were looking at just the conditional use permit, not rezoning.
Right.
A1, correct? Okay, right. And also, I know the walls were concerned about clothing optional and things of that nature. Is this what they're asking for?
Our request, and that was the primary thing they revised when the committee sent it back to the town and they took it out immediately.
Okay. So that's no longer being considered likely then.
Correct.
Anybody else?
Yeah. What size pool are we looking at?
Bridget, did you want to address? You
Yeah,
might have to use your microphone. Did you hear his question?
the size of the pools. We wanted to do 2 pools that were 45 feet by 40 feet and then 4.5 feet deep. So relatively small, and the maximum capacity for the pools at any given time would be 40 people. At a given time, we would have a registration online to control that. They would have to make a reservation, so that way we wouldn't exceed the 40 people at one time in the pools. So it's relatively small. Again, that was 2 pools. Each pool would be 45 by 40 feet and then 4.5 feet deep. And then we would have a fence around it. We did take out the clothing optional part. And then the parking, we also reduced to 30 parking spots. And the pools are not like a traditional pool. Okay.
You said maximum 40 people over. What I'm looking at here says maximum capacity 200.
That was the
That
old
was-
one.
Oh,
Go a few page after that.
oh, okay, all right, thank you.
Anybody else in the committee?
Well, they'd be as big as this room, each one approximately.
Jody?
I have one other question. So the town came back again and said no. Was that before considering B1, after, where are we in this
Their
whole?
reasoning for saying no was that they thought it should be rezoned B1.
So they're saying no, rezone it to B1, and we're indicating that's probably not the best choice?
Yeah.
Okay, but in the end, they said no.
And they said no.
Okay.
Nobody
thank you.
objected to the idea of having the pools or having the pools. They just objected it because they thought it should be rezoned to be commercial.
It was more the process, not the plan, is the way I take it.
Randy here. Everyone I've talked to from Del Prairie, Fawn Creek, Tom Turbot, who's a next door neighbor there, the neighbors in the subdivision that have come to me, their whole thing since they changed the request from the clothing optional has been more about why isn't it zone B1? They don't seem to care about the pool. They just, why isn't it B1? And so that's where, and other than Tom Turbot, another thing would be Tom Turbot, who sits at a lower elevation, worries about any water runoff or anything that they create a problem. He wants that mitigated before it reaches his property. But other than that, that's the problems I heard.
Anybody else? Jody?
Sorry, one more, and this is to the requester. My understanding, reading your documentation, is that you are not going to drain these pools. You're going to somehow keep them clean with built-in biological filtration system. Is that correct? There will be no water that is disposed of out of these pools?
That is correct. It's not like a traditional pool. It's more like a natural pond. So it has a biological feature, like sort of like an aquarium where the filtration goes through that biological filtration system and the water is circulating through that and then it's coming back to the surface for oxygen. So where like in the winter, it would naturally freeze over.
But if you say you're not gonna release any water, but you have to back flush them, don't you? To clean your filtration system? Is that correct?
Yeah, you'll have to clean the filtration system, correct?
By back flushing water out? Is that correct? By flushing water back out?
You don't have to drain the water.
Okay.
I think Mr. Turbot was more worried about water runoff from the parking lot and hard surface and anything.
That could be addressed, I think, with a stormwater management plan that the committee would require as a condition of approval.
Yeah, we won't be draining it. So that shouldn't be an issue.
I couldn't hear.
Bridget, the concern was, I mean, I guess part of the concern would be is if you did drain the pool or not. It's more the size of, a pretty decent sized parking lot. When it rains, the water's gotta go someplace. And the neighbors afraid that it's gonna end up on their property. That's what they were discussing.
Yeah, we were planning on doing a gravel parking lot.
Okay, thank you. When we're talking of privacy fence, what are the limitations, for everyone's knowledge on how tall those can be?
For a security fence, it can go up to 10 feet. For a residential, it says 6 feet. If the committee were to do. Give me 1 second. Possibly. Residential fences. Not exceed 6 feet, security fences. Shall not exceed 10 feet, but those have to be open. Then it talks about farming and vegetation. I guess I would say in commercial, it's what's necessary. If you put a condition on of 8 foot, then it'd be 8 foot.
So could the requester maybe, describe the privacy fence that they're thinking about?
We were planning on doing a 6-foot fence around the pool area.
Opaque in nature? Or,
I just can't see through it.
I understand that,
Privacy.
but
Yeah,
privacy means so many different things to so many different people, so,
yeah,
okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Anybody else from the committee? Okay, is there anyone out there besides the committee that would like to speak on this proposal? Is there anyone that wishes to speak in favor of this proposal? Hearing none, is there anyone that wishes to speak against this proposal? Also hearing none. It's up to the committee at this point. So at this point, I would like to establish a set of conditions and vote on them before we vote on the entire proposal. So where do we start? I'd start with Mr. Wall's letter. He lists a pretty good set of conditions.
I don't think, personally, where the plot plan is locating the pool area, it's so centered in the middle of the property, right to left, and all the way to the front of the roadside, if they're gonna enter off 13, which could be a stipulation, which I assume it's going to be anyway, that it's gonna affect Mr. Wall or any of the neighbors from where it's located.
Well, like I said before, if you can look across the football field and see somebody on the pool behind the premises, that's your eyes are a lot better than mine.
Right. And as far as noise, I don't think it's gonna be a noise. Personally, I don't think it's gonna be a noise issue. You've got a dog kennel, you've got Swan Creek with music. I just don't think it's gonna be a,
And they all fit by cameras away.
right.
So, starting with number one, what would you like for conditions?
I would like to see a stormwater mitigation plan of some type.
Okay.
And that would be approved by the land and water division.
The 6-foot privacy fence around the whole pool?
Mr. Walls.
Well, you've got no new bathing, we could put that as a condition. High point, don't need trees, don't need to make that as a condition. Hours of use, 10 o'clock, no alcohol.
So this is.
I don't have
This is all
vision because of what fence around the whole property.
3 acres there. Yeah.
Rocky, did we cover alcohol yet? I'm sorry.
I said that,
Okay.
That's not, yeah, that's
no
all right.
alcohol for right. Question of business to have to come to campground, well, we said if they can't, they're not coming back to the committee anyway. access off of 13th Avenue. Anything else? Any other conditions you would want?
Is it practical to think that they can operate this pool into November? Okay,
If the water doesn't freeze, I do make it swim in it. Okay, do we have a motion to approve these conditions?
I'll make a motion to approve the conditions listed.
I'll second it.
Randy and Bruce?
Lauren, you have all the ones,
All
you
conditions?
wanna read those quick?
Stormwater remediation plan.
Mitigation.
Or, okay. Let, 6-foot privacy fence around the pool area. No nude bathing, 10 PM, no alcohol, and access off 13th Avenue.
We have a motion and a second, hearing none, roll call vote.
Okay. Gilbert.
Yes.
Jody, or Shaky.
yes,
Turco.
Yes.
Cornelio,
Yes.
Dolzel,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
not Griner.
Yes.
Okay, the conditions listed are approved. Now I need a motion to approve the conditional use permit.
With the attached condition.
With the attachment.
Future. No.
This is the vote. This is making the motion.
Oh, motion.
Make a motion to approve. You can all-
Oh, motion.
Jay is making the motion to approve.
No, I'm not. I was a step ahead.
Yes, you were.
Condell is all, I'll make the motion to approve.
John.
With the
roll call,
conditions.
Motion to approve. Need a second.
Bruce, I'll second.
Bruce, seconds the motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Shaky,
no,
Turco,
No.
Cornelio,
No.
Dolzel,
No.
Peterson,
Yes.
not Griner.
No.
Gilbert.
Yes. Okay. Proposal fails. This is on the next one.
I guess I'd just like to make a comment that I'm disappointed that Del Prairie did not get their form in. Right, we do not have a
We
form,
only have a verbal
right,
on them.
right, and I feel that they should have done that if they were against it.
Of course, you see all of them that are signed up to the meeting group.
The next application is for Blue Lane Company LLC. This is a reopen a tabled application for a rezone request for a portion of the property parcel. 5.318 acres from A130 to A3 secondary ag on property located in the northeast quarter of the northwest quarter, section 12, township 19 north, range 7 east. Parcel number 6-218, town of Colburn, the address is 164 Beaver Court. So as it, we also did not receive a town participation form on this. And as far as I know, they haven't gone back to the town. At this time, I request this be tabled indefinitely until, our office receives the town participation form. Because it might be in 3 months. This is already the second time we've tabled it.
I'll make a motion to postpone this request until it has gone through proper channels of the town.
I'll second it.
I think it's postponed.
Okay. Table indefinitely.
People indefinitely is like kicking it, from my understanding. I don't have my Robert's rules book, but there you go.
Second.
I second it. Randy?
Motion and a second to table the request.
No, it's going to-
Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Sure. Oswald,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Notfire,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Shady.
Yes,
Okay, table, excellent.
The next application is for Signature Farms 2 LLC. Rezone request for 2 parcels, 9.77 acres from R2 rural residential to R1 large lot, single family residential large lot on property located in the southeast quarter, section 36, township 18 north, range 6 east. Parcels 24-1306-10 and 24-1306-15. Town of Preston addresses are 1897 and 1885 West 7th Ave. I do have a couple items here. The applicant had gone to the town of Preston in April originally. The request at that time was R2 to R1. The town did deny that. They said it wasn't compatible with their comprehensive plan. The applicant, or then working with the applicant, we changed it to R1 large lot. The primary difference between R1 and R1 large lot, all the uses are identical. In R1, the minimum lot size is 20,000 square feet, so just a shade under a half acre. In R1 large lot, the minimum lot size is 2 acres that you can create. These are both approximately 5-acre parcels. Each parcel does have a house on it, and they are requesting to go to R1 large lots so they can split the properties in half. So they end up with 4 2.5-acre parcels. The town did not object to that request once it was changed to the R1 large lot. The Adams County Highway Department has no concerns with the zoning request. And I did hear from one of the neighboring property owners, it was the Church family, and they are okay with the request at all. And that was by phone. That is all I have.
Okay. Is anybody from Signature Farms logged in?
No.
Okay, any questions from the committee? Okay. Does anyone else wish to speak on this proposal? Okay. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in favor of this proposal? Is there anyone who wishes to speak against this proposal?
I would like to,
What?
I would like to speak against it.
And you are? State your name and address, you get 3 minutes.
Don Carbolio, 724 County Road J. This property actually backs up to my property. My concern is that these houses would be occupied 8 months out of the year. To my understanding, we were looking more as Adams County, looking for full-time residents in Adams County. How this is going to benefit the county, I'm not quite sure. Being temporary residents.
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak against this proposal? Hearing none, it's up to the committee.
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. And a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
No.
Oswald,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Mark Garner,
Yes.
Gilmer.
Yes.
Maybe,
Yes.
Turco.
Okay. 6-1, motion passes.
Normally this time we tell the applicant,
Okay, the applicant, this will appear before the county board meeting on June 23rd.
Mhm.
Okay.
is it Thursday then? Always last to know.
23rd, 6 p.m.
Next application is for Crystal Robinson.
Oh,
No. I go to the June meeting, not the May meeting?
well, okay.
The June one says the same.
Oh, yeah.
The next application is for Holly and Scott Kramer. Rezone request for a portion of a parcel, 7 acres from A1 exclusive ag to R1 single family residential on property located in the southeast quarter, southwest quarter, section 32, township 15 east, range 7 east. Township 15 north, range 7 east, parcel 12-1080, town of Jackson, address is 566 Gale Ave. You have the whole. No. Okay. I did receive, this was the one that was. We never got anything from the town on this one yet, have we?
Yes, we did. Does not object.
I'll get there.
This is a new one. New statement, yeah.
There's, and it says town at the bottom.
Oh, there. The town of Jackson does not object. And they decided that May 24th of their meeting, it does, they felt that it did meet their town comprehensive plan. And that's all I have.
Our Holly or Scott Kramer online.
Holly and Scott are not online, but I am representing them. My name is Sebastian Olszewski. I'm their son-in-law.
Okay. You have anything to add? Sir,
I'm sorry.
you have anything to add?
No, we're just looking to, we have a 40-acre parcel that we would like to rezone 7 of those acres to residential. Our plan is to short-term rent the home that's currently on the property, so tourist rooming. And according to the minimum requirements to the Adams County tourist housing packet, the zoning does not align with the zoning ordinance. So this is why we're looking to rezone those 7 acres.
Okay, thank you.
Dustin, so what does that do to the other remaining part of the 40?
The remaining 33 acres would remain as agricultural, A1.
It can be.
That's nice.
All right, so a couple of different things. You're incorrect on the zoning portion. If that's the only reason you're doing this for the rental, this does not need to be rezoned.
It does, so we can continue with the agricultural A1 zoning. Okay, that's not how I read the zoning
Correct.
code. But if I stand corrected, then I guess.
Right. So one of the, and I guess you and I don't believe ever being contacted by any of you as far as what the purpose was.
No.
All right. Tourist rooming houses in the state of Wisconsin, any place where there is a house allowed, we have to allow them to rent it on a short-term basis. Zoning really doesn't matter whatsoever.
Understood. Okay.
To get to the other question, which may become a moot point. This is an ordinance amendment. So if a parcel is created smaller because of an ordinance amendment, the 33 acres could remain as A1, and it would be a legal non-conforming parcel, and that is perfectly fine. Now, in this case, I'm not sure they were actually dividing the 7 acres off. Is that the intention?
Oh, okay.
But he's withdrawing his request, all right?
I don't know. It's unnecessary if that's the only purpose.
Did I understand that you're withdrawing your request because it's unnecessary?
What was his name?
Sebastian.
Yes. I'm sorry, was that directed toward me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had there's not the best sound clarity. What was the question?
I understand that you're withdrawing your request. Maybe
Uh,
it's not necessary.
If it's not necessary and we won't have any objections with the county when submitting the tourist housing packet or application, then yes, I would ask to have this withdrawn.
Okay. Withdraw request. Next one.
Rocky,
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
And I just want to clarify, Dustin, I misunderstood. I thought they were dividing the 7 acres off. But it was legal to do like what you said. We've done that before.
Actually, either way would be fine.
So they can do, well, then we've been led astray for the last number of years, right, Rocky?
I thought we established that already.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be fine.
My question is, Jackson is under farmland preservation. Does that have, isn't it? Jackson is not?
Yeah, they
It
did,
is.
they
Okay.
did add it.
Does
For a
this have
tourist
any-
rooming house, it doesn't matter.
Okay, just want to make that clear. Thank you.
Next one.
I guess I did put my mic on during all that.
Probably a good thing.
The next application is for Adam Sacco. Did I get that one right this time? Hey. Rezone request of 2 parcels, 11.87 acres from R3 versatile residential to A3 secondary agricultural on property located in the southwest quarter, southeast quarter, section 15, township 16 north, range 6 east. Parcels 10-1279 and 10-1280. Town of Easton, address is 2689th Drive. I did receive the town participation form from the town of Easton. They do not object to the request. It was approved by the planning commission and no concerns by the town board. And it's not really an amendment for you. Okay. And that was at their May 16th meeting. I received no other correspondence. Are the applicants online? In person.
In person.
Anything you wish you to add? What's your-
The property is for my grandmother's and my parents, and that's mine. I want to move here one day, build a house sooner, but I'm not sure when I can move here, because I kind of have a good job and still young, so I want to make some more money. But I'd like to build a house sooner, come up on the weekends and stuff, and eventually move here. And when I do move here, I want to be able to keep animals and do animal related things, just for my own personal fun. Have chickens and a cow. And I wanted to rezone it before I did. If I wanted to back it later.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the committee?
Question, there's another comment back.
Somebody else wish to speak?
I'm Grandma of
Hi, Grandma.
2 boys, and I just come with them because these 2 gentlemen is brothers, and the one is very sick of a special condition. He has Castello syndrome. He loves animals, and one rely on each other. And it is possible because he's supposed to be an organic stuff and whatever. So they want to move to Wisconsin. If it's possible, I would love to ask you to okay the A3 for this little guy, because he don't have very
Thank you, man. Any questions from the committee?
Because I know a lot of the members are new, I'm just throwing a couple of things out as a teaching tool, I guess, once in a while. Under residential zoning, R1 and R3, in R3, you can't have any farm animals at all. In R1, you're limited to 5 chickens, no roosters. The ag districts do allow farm animals. Obviously, A3 does have some limitation as far as how many you can have. Once you get to A3, you're not really looking at like huge farming operations. That's more possible in A1. What A3 allowed for. 1 livestock unit per acre. A horse, a cow are considered 1. Dogs are 5 is 1 animal unit. I think goats are 0.2 of an animal unit. Everything has its own value. But in this case, it's 11 acres, so they would be limited to 11 animal units. So sorry.
Okay, thank you. So is there anyone else that wishes to speak?
Somebody-
Now you have questions.
Sorry. He brought him up. So when you look at the map, I'm not familiar with this. Are those other residential units all the way around it?
Oops, my God. All right, so the property that we are discussing right now is that's one of them. The other one is the one immediately to the south. You can kind of see all the other green lines are property lines there. My screen is okay. And currently, everything in the orange is R3, is what that property is currently zoned. If you look a little more to the east, the brown is the district they are requesting to go to.
Okay.
The left, where it's the diagonal lines, that's A1. And to the south there, it looks like if we zoom out. And these lots are about where my mouse is.
You're abutting to one side for sure on the egg.
Right.
Any other questions?
That answers my question.
Okay, is there anyone else that wishes to speak in favor of this proposal? Is there anyone that wishes to speak against this proposal? Hearing none, it's up to the committee.
Mr. Knocker, make a motion, we approve.
We have a motion to approve. Steve Churchman seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Steve Dunn,
Yes.
Todd Griner,
Yes.
Gilman,
Yes.
Chaffee,
Yes,
Churko.
Yes.
Cornelio,
Yes.
Vogel.
Yes.
Okay, it's approved. This has to go before the full county board on June 23rd at 6 p.m.
The final application is for David. Final application is for David and Janet Purdue. Rezone request of parcel 23.107 acres from R1 single family residential to A115 exclusive ag on property located in the northeast quarter, section 9, township 19 north, range 5 east. Parcel number 18-445-10, town of Monroe. The address is 817 17th Drive. I did receive the town correspondence form. The town of Monroe does not object to the request. They did that at their May meeting. And the neighbor at 827. Yep, 827 17th Drive name is Barry Bacon, maybe Jeff Bacon.
Yeah.
He he had no concerns, that was my fault. That's all I have.
Okay, are Dave or Janet Purdue online?
Well, they were, because those.
Hello?
those that were talking
Can you hear me?
Hello,
Hello?
Dave or Janet Purdue?
Yes, David Purdue.
Do you have anything you'd like to add to this request?
The only thing that we would like would be to get A1 because we do own horses. We are making it our permanent residence. I am about ready to retire. We are going to start building our house. As soon as I get the excavator out there, we've already got our permit for the house. So like I said, we live in Indiana right now. This will be our permanent residence. And we're looking to put up a barn so we can bring our animals with us. We own 2 horses and 2 mini donkeys.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any questions from the committee? Okay, is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor of this proposal? Is there anyone that wishes to speak against this proposal? Hearing none, it's up to the committee.
I'll make a motion to approve this request.
A motion to approve by Jody,
I'll second the motion.
second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Not Griner,
Yes.
Milner,
Yes.
Shaky,
Yes.
Turco,
Yes.
Familial,
Yes.
Vogel,
Yes.
Ethan.
Yes. Okay, this passes. It will also have to be before the full county board on June 23rd, 6 p.m. Okay, that closes the public hearing portion of the meeting.
I'd like to thank all you guys. I appreciate it very much.
Welcome, sir.
Cannot wait to get there.
Okay, next one, Wisconsin Dunes.
All right, this is a condo plat, does require committee approval. It was a last second addition. The declaration, or not last, this morning. The declarations for the condominium are included in the application. We have, or they're on the link now. At the very bottom is the actual map. We are still waiting on recording the certified survey map that would set this part aside. That can be, that would have to happen before this could be recorded anyway. I believe Jerry is on. Jerry reviewed it, we did discuss it, he said he had no concerns with the way it was laid out or how it was designed. And this is in the town of Rome, so they are extensively working with the town of Rome on this as well. Essentially what it is it's a, I believe it's a one, from what I can tell, it's a 1-unit condominium.
There's different floors, I think. The unit 1 is the large part on the bottom.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then it's kind of an odd, and without the declarations, I can't tell what they're doing, because I didn't get to see those yet, but, for those of you, I'm sorry. Go ahead, sorry, I apologize. For those of you that aren't aware, when you do a condominium, you have. When you have a condominium, you are required to submit the declarations with the condominium plat, because what happens in the condominium, what it says in the condominium declarations, set what the plat is going to look like. Tells you what the percentage of interest. It doesn't look like this is a little complicated. I don't think there's any common areas and things like that. I'm just curious as to why they want a really large unit and then other small units, but they can be, I think they can be commercial as well. I know Chula Vista has some in part of theirs, so that could be, or however they're setting up the units themselves, maybe a very large condominium unit. So, but that's how that's a condominium work.
Right, by approval, there is no, the committee wouldn't have the as part of the condominium plat, they wouldn't have the approval or the ability to limit what the use is. Condominiums are a form of ownership. However, any uses would have to conform to zoning. In this case, it's actually the town or road zoning, not us or the county anyway. So we are only looking at the land division ordinance. With condos, they're different. We don't see a ton of them. And this is the second page, one of the 3 units with the declarations are in there now. And we won't record it until we get all the signatures from one of them.
Anybody have any questions? Hearing none, it's up to the committee.
Motion to approve.
A motion to approve by Randy.
I'll second.
What?
I'll second.
John Rosenthal, second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay? Okay, plan approved. Has everybody had a chance to look at the financial report? Anybody have any questions on it?
I do.
Go ahead.
Do we have any funds set aside for raising? I didn't
We
see
do.
that in there. Okay.
But it is not, and I do see Kyle on, he can probably explain it better than I can. It's not at the very bottom of that, okay, sorry, page 2. In the middle. 245 raise orders. We have $50,000 set aside for that. That was a newly created, our department did have funds previously. And it was substantially less this year. We used, there was sales tax revenue applied to grant us a $50,000 fund for that. With that fund, so for example, this year we spent, you can see it there, $16,687 on demolition of a home. It's been burned out. The gentleman was not removing it. It was a very unsafe situation. We are giving him an opportunity to pay it himself. He does not appear that it's going to happen. That amount does get applied to his property tax. When that does get paid, that $16,687 would go back into that account. So it's kind of a
It's a revolving account.
revolving, replenishes itself to some extent. We will have to wait up to 4.5 years, I believe it is, to receive that money, but it's nice to have that.
I think it's a really good, I think that's a very good thing to have for our county. It really helps you and us keep things rolling. We never knew we had that before on this committee. It was
Yeah.
small, it was a small amount
Yeah.
before, but
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on the permit report?
You can see month of April for last year and April this year, we're within 3 permits of each other. And for the total permits for year to date, very, very similar. We're actually about 30 ahead. You can see there's a little difference in those two sanitary. Last year, so on the left side of that, TC is transfer container, which is what you would use for camping unit. Last year was required, I believe it was middle end of last year, it was requested that that gets separated out, just so we have an idea. And you can see the number of those has substantially gone up, and that's in large part to the new camping ordinance that was the revision to the sanitary ordinance last year that now requires campers either have a septic system or a 300-gallon RV transfer container. We did already have about 170, 180, so there's about an additional 100 that was added this year. And you can see the revenue wise, we're ahead, building is going strong, our office is busy, and I gotta believe that interest rates and price of lumber are gonna affect that someday.
Yep.
I kind of thought it was gonna happen 2 years ago. It hasn't yet, so. So as of right now, we're doing well.
Okay, then zoning division updates?
We did, as everybody in this room is aware, we did receive approval for the part-time code enforcement officer. That position was posted last Monday, week and a half ago. And we did not have, the way we decided to do it was not to have a close date on it. It's open until filled. And we have not received an application. But I'm sure it's me, right? So we're still working on that. I think we're getting there. I did attend the town of Quincy board meeting last Thursday. Doing a fair amount of work out there, and then town. My impression was they seem to be pleased with the direction we're going for only having been in for 2 months. Bruce might be able to speak better to that. I agree. I think everybody was real happy. And we got a long ways to go. So that's keeping us busy and anything else? Okay.
I'm sorry.
Well, she hasn't figured out yet when she gives me a sanitary permit to issue, she just gets them right back to actually type up. She lost them, then she didn't have to do that stuff. Oh, yeah.
Anybody from the public wish to speak? Correspondence?
None?
Okay, next meeting date, July 6th, 3 p.m. Meeting adjourned.